Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen, all in crypto here, and welcome back, guys, for another daily cryptocurrency market update. If you were new around here, every single day at 1 p.m., we release, UK time that is, we release a market update just like this one, where we don't just look at the cryptocurrency markets and all the exciting and interesting things happening within them. We look at the charts, and we also look further afield. And we try and piece together all of the pieces of the puzzle to help us try and work out where this small but very significant and to become infinitely more significant market is heading. And we've been sort of stressing our lack of clarity in regards to direction over the short term. So week or so, couple of weeks, potentially up to a month. Mid to long term, you guys know that we are exceptionally bullish and think that you are going to see higher crypto prices from today, 6, 12, 4 months down the line. You know, we expect the environment that we're in to be quite a good one for crypto. We looked at the stock market, a number of things at the start of the year, and really made a pivot and kind of assessment, if you will, in regards to not having a bearish outlook and having a bullish one. And the stock market and everything has done brilliantly. We were talking about the stock market, Apple and Amazon in particular, that both had earnings yesterday. Amazon's done very well off of it. Apple, not so much, but good in certain areas. Stock market looked ripe for a pullback, and you are getting that across the board. You know, after the likes of Microchip hit our target, seeing a little bit of an uptick. You know, and this is all leaning on the crypto space. You've got gold slightly down. You've got the dollar up. Let's start things off with, and I want to talk about a very interesting subject in this video. We're going to be talking about the mark of the beast, i.e. CBDCs and what this may look. And we're going to be hearing from former World Economic Forum global leader for tomorrow, Professor Richard Werner. Reveals insider source told him CBDCs will be held on microchips under the skin. I do actually think this is coming. It's very interesting to me how there's a lot of religious texts out there that all speak about a one world system, a one world government, and a one world monetary system that you will be either on the right side of or the wrong side of, but we'll leave that there. Don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But very interesting what he has to say. But we're going to start off with the boring stuff as always. Of course, today's Nonfarm Payroll. This is coming in at 1:30 p.m. UK time. And I'm expecting this to be a massive beat. This is coming in at estimates of 205,000. If you go to ADPs on Wednesday, you can see ADPs came in at 324,000. The expectations were 191,000. Huge beat. Why the hell do we care about this as crypto traders, crypto investors? Well, because Zedala is Bitcoin USD, Gold USD, S&P USD, you know, it's one half of the trade, and the dollar being strong leans on the cryptocurrency market. I'm uncertain about this. You know, I can see merit for it selling off here. It's had a great run after losing the 100 level, and I can see it sort of selling off. It's going to go higher if it sort of takes the 103 level, 103.5 level. This may have been strong because this was known. The ADPs and the non-farms already sort of known, and there's going to be, you know, a reason for it to be strong. It started off with GDPs, blah, 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 blah. It's likely, very likely to me, and we're going to call it on this channel that this is going to be a huge beat again. So you're going to see very strong numbers. And this is going to support the dollar. This is likely why it's been rallying thus far. Okay, that's going to lean on crypto. The question is how much of it is priced in already. And if you look at where kind of the dollar is, you know, you can see a lot of merit for it maybe selling off here. You can see you got a couple of, almost a hammer there. Spinning top, if you will, perhaps. On the daily, you know, are we going to see it sort of have a bit of a rest here? And has all this sort of good news for the dollar being priced in? And does that mean that crypto may have a little bit of a time to shine? Crypto is, again, I think it's still got a slight leg lower, but it's only a slight leg lower before it gets that running jump at 30k and takes it. You still have earnings to come today. Let's take a look at today's earnings. What is the date? It's the 4th of August. So I was 100% wrong. You don't have earnings to come. Yesterday, you had Amazon, you had Apple, I'm sure. Apple, Coinbase, a number of others. Let's take a look at those and see where they're at. I know Amazon had a big jump. Let's find Amazon. Let's find Coinbase first of all. So this is the other thing as well, right? When you break resistance, you often come back and retest it. And you can see this for a number of stocks that we were calling long, like Roku, for example, was a perfect example of a stock we got very wrong. Beautiful upside. Does it come back down and sort of retest these levels before then seeing continuation? You know, very uncertain on the short term. Mid to long term, very, very bullish and expect upside continuation. But Coinbase, not doing a great deal. Let's get it on the weekly. I Don't like using particularly smaller charts to try and make a point unless we need to. Amazon, look at that for a jump. Whew, wowzers. But then is that straight into resistance, and then does it sell off from here? Maybe. And Apple, marginally down. And is that coming back into support? This is very polarized right now across the board, not just in regards to crypto, in regards to a number of things. And, very hard to call. So let's maybe take a look at the total too, or total, see what we can get there. Again, this is your transition. Bear market, we were totally right on our call on the 5th of January into chop sideways, your white caps in the kind of harbour into a breakout, and the stock market very much leading that. Very interesting. It's interesting because I'm long spot. I do have a couple of shorts on though. So, which actually isn't the worst place to be in because you're going to benefit from whatever comes your way. Again, Apple, most profitable line. Our business is something. You can see they did very well, but not so well in certain areas. We'll see how that one unfolds. Very polarizing. Amazon doing great, Apple not doing so well, or doing okay, but closing down. Again, dollar at key resistance, but showing a lot of strength. Bitcoin at resistance, selling off, but looking very placid and not too strong. That non-farm payroll number comes out, markets will move. And that is pretty much a guarantee in a volatile manner. So if you are trading any leverage, I wouldn't advise it at all. Although I'm not a financial advisor, I would stick away from leverage. I don't think retail should be touching leverage. I think I totally get the law of it. Problem is, if you look at why retail loses money from a trading point of view, 99% of it is down to leverage. And these guys posting 20, 80, 100x leverage trades, they're worse than the fitness industry, the influencers who are taking Trenbolone and promising you abs in a 30-minute workout, because at least those fitness influencers have the body to go with it, whereas the people showing you 80x leverage trades and how much they've made don't have the P&Ls to go with it, if that makes sense. But I want to finish things off. In regards to CBDCs and this microchip kind of concept, sounds very similar to the mark of the beast. And I'm sure some of you may be familiar with that term, some of you may not. Very interesting to me how there's a lot of religious books out there that all talk about a kind of one world global system coming around at a certain time and yada, yada, yada. And this is... I always pay attention when somebody's been able to predict things thousands of years out or hundreds of years out. That to me is interesting. And it either says one of two things. There's either some sort of divinity there, or the very people who put that thing out are the same people who are ushering it in. I don't know. That's just total speculation and an off-topic comment on my behalf. But new former WEF global leader for tomorrow, Professor Richard Werner. I think this guy wrote the Princess Yen. I believe I've read the Princess Yen from Richard. Reveals inside source told him CBDCs will be held on microchips under the skin. Let's listen
They
to what he
never
has to
talk
say.
about the nature of this CBDC. What is it actually going to look like? They never talk about that. Right. But I heard one European central banker tell me what it's going to look like. He saw it. He was invited to one of the old central banks in Europe that are very much promoting this. And they showed him. And, he's a top, executive director of another central bank in Europe. And there's no reason to believe that he was telling me a story. And he was around this large and would be implanted under your skin. So that is the plan. Right. And of course, that has other implications on top of what we've mentioned, on top of the control aspects, because that actually enters your body, in my view, violates human dignity, and can be then used for, even in terms of functionality, beyond the monetary and economic transaction purposes. So highly dangerous and definitely something we have to oppose. And so using cash is one of the things we can do to make sure that the hurdle will be higher for the central planners to introduce the CBDC.
Wow. Wideawakemedia.com for more content like this. Yep. We're all for supporting anybody that is on the side of humanity and people like me and you guys. We totally support that. I think this is coming, unfortunately, guys. I think you are going to end up with one world systems, I think actually, and we spoke about the Great Reset, the great sort of financial reset, and how that occurs, and it occurs on the failing of debt, because it's like the reason we went off of the gold standard. Everyone looked at each other and went, well, if we don't accept this new system, all our economies collapse. If we don't accept the new system that comes off the back end of debt collapsing, and we all have to kind of do this Jubilee style shift, then every country, barring some, and those some that don't suck on the US dollar's teat, are typically at war and go to war or get brought into a war by the US. Every country sucks on the US dollar's teat, and it's why the AA plus rating it's kind of irrelevant, because if the US falls, pretty much most countries fall. Certainly the Western world, Europe, many parts of Asia, Australia, and the countries that aren't as dependent or so dependent, usually we've got beef with. So it's very interesting. This is a world that I think we're moving towards, something to watch out for. We will try our hardest to keep mentioning this stuff, even though it's somewhat outside of the parameters of what we should be mentioning, because we care, and we want people to avoid and be able to get as much freedom out of life as they possibly can. And again, this is something that I think is coming. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. If you enjoy the content, like, appreciate it, as a comment. Just a quick recap. We've got Nonfarm today. It's going to move the market. Look for dollar strength, weakness, and look for what Bitcoin does. Look for the stock market in that regards to it opening at 2:30 in the UK. So the stock market opens every day. So I'll start with the S&P and going on to like the NASDAQ and tech stocks, so on and so forth. We're going to love and leave you guys. Have a wonderful Friday, great weekend, and catch you tomorrow.